and welcome to Her Business. I'm Susie Daphnis. I'm the CEO at Her Business and I am your host. And today we're talking about something that is often underestimated in business, but it's actually incredibly powerful when it's done well, and that is your brand. Now, I don't mean your logo and I don't mean the colors you use, but what I do mean is the clarity and the confidence and the credibility that your brand communicates when someone comes across it. Now, this applies whether you are a tiny business or a big business. And as small business owners, we often think that branding is for the big guys. It's not. My guest today is Melissa Horvat. She's the founder of Graphika, and she and her team work with mostly professional service providers to create brands that are clear and credible, and brands that build trust and support long-term growth in businesses. She has over 3 decades of experience. She's worked with organisations like Paralympics Australia, the New South Wales and Queensland Government, corporate clients, but also hundreds of small businesses, and with many businesses inside the Her Business community. And what she really understands is how to take the ideas in your head and translate them into a look and feel that truly reflects you and your business and helps you connect with the right people. In this episode, we're going to walk through what makes a brand trustworthy, the common mistakes that we make when it comes to our brand, and how to create a brand presence that you are genuinely proud of and one that really supports your growth rather than holding you back. And we're going to dig into what is your brand saying about you before you even say a word. So let's dive in. Hey, Melissa, welcome to the show.
Hey, Susie. Thanks for having me. Very excited today.
I'm excited to see you. I haven't seen you for a little while. I know you're working with a number of our Her Business members, and what you've done many times over is help women business owners clarify their brand. How do you see the relationship between a clear brand identity and a compelling, sellable product or service?
Yeah. So I love this question, Susie, because your offer and your branding are rarely separate. They are deeply connected. And so when your brand is very clear, who you are, what you stand for, and who you help, your offer becomes really easy to position, it becomes easy to price and generally to sell. So, and because that just communicates value without you having to over-explain anything, having to work really hard to attract the right people or to discount. So it's really important that they remain connected. So for the women that I work with who are predominantly service-based businesses, when they are really clear, it builds confidence. And I, have seen that several times with the people that I have worked with, because when you are selling yourself confidently, it just helps, so much with selling your services or your products. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as a customer, if I see someone in one environment and then I'm going, say, to their sales page to buy something or their website, and they don't feel connected, like they might be really polished, but they've got a really out-of-date brand or website, I go, I don't know if I can trust this. So absolutely understand what you're saying about them being closely aligned. From your experience, what is one of the common mistakes that women make when they're trying to package their services into a saleable offer, and how can they turn that around? And we can talk about products as well, but you know what I mean.
Products and services, absolutely. So the most common thing that I see is that people are generally overcomplicating what they're offering. So many women feel like they need to include everything in order to feel valuable, right? I think we all do that as women. Like we always over-deliver and over-customize, and then everything just ends up so messy, and it's quite often hard to explain and then exhausting to deliver. So we start resenting what we're doing. So when your offer isn't packaged clearly, it's harder for clients to also say yes, because they're just working too hard to understand what they're getting. So then they'll hesitate, and quite often you are really talented at what you do, but you're not selling yourself clearly. So the turnaround starts when people start to become clear. So instead of asking, what else can I add, more and more and more, ask, what is the core transformation I'm trying to provide to my clients, and then just get really clear on the result that they are wanting. So when you simplify and structure those services into really clear defined packages, three things generally start to happen. You start to sound a lot more confident in what you are offering. Your clients start to understand your value faster, and you position yourself as a specialist in your industry. So, yeah, I mean, I have a bit of a saying, and that is simplicity sells, clarity converts, and confidence connects and closes.
Oh, I love that. That's a writer-downer, as they say in the US of A.
Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah. One of the things, I love what you're saying there, and one of the things that I know that we need to do as business owners is to stand out and stand apart from our competition and not blend in. Even if we're an introvert, we want to make sure that we are standing out and being seen for who we truly are in a confident way, in a way that's compelling for our ideal clients in order for us to make sales. This month inside of Her Business, we are talking about how to, package and price and name and present your products and services so that you sell more. How does the kind of clarity that you've mentioned influence not only design, but the whole product suite as it's presented?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a really important one, and you can see it generally in every industry. I mean, you're walking down a street and there are 10 cafes in the same strip, and, how is one better? Or, which one do you choose? Or in my hometown, there is a street in town that is full of law firms. It's like, which one are we going to, right? So basically when a business starts when they move from blending into standing out, it's usually because they've made a really clear decision about who they are and what they stand for. And the clarity doesn't just influence, it's not just about your colours and your logo, but it's really about how you've positioned yourself and who you are attracting as a client, and then shaping all your products around that in terms of your clients and your branding. So when your branding is clear, you stop creating random offers to suit everybody.
Right.
You're designing services that align with the strengths and attracting your ideal client. And that's what I like to work with my own clients and just get really clear on who that ideal client is. Because like you said, you can't be everything to everybody. And in order for you to stand out, you just need to be really true to yourself. And even if, I am also an introvert, it may not seem that way when it comes to how I, present myself on my website or in my socials, but generally I'm a pretty introverted person. But you can create and position yourself in a way that makes you an expert without being loud and, bold. There are all different ways of positioning yourself to stand out, to attract that ideal client.
And a lot of that happens, I think, on that first impression. So the work that you help people with. So if someone sees you on your socials, or they come to your website, or they see a landing page, or they see the proposal or whatever it is, that is speaking before you've even said a word. And so having that be aligned with who you truly are will also attract the sort of person that you want to work with. So important. And as small business owners, sometimes we think, branding and identity and all that, that's for bigger companies. It's totally not. It's totally not.
No.
Yeah.
And that's my philosophy, is to share that knowledge. What big brands have, you can absolutely, it's the same philosophy for a small brand as well, obviously without the price tag, but I believe that all businesses should have that opportunity.
And we hadn't talked about this ahead of time, but also refreshing your brand. Like I've been in running this business for 30 years. It's a long time.
That's crazy.
And we've changed name in that time. We've changed brand a couple of times, and we're due for a refresh because things change, like visuals change. What is contemporary, it still has to be true to us and who we are and our ideal client, but who I am has changed over 30 years, how I'm going to show up. The colours that resonate with my ideal client now, or the feel, or the types of images that are used, all that changes over time. And too often I see, especially with my beautiful established business owners who've been in business for 10, 15, 20 years, is that you haven't stepped into now. You haven't let your brand catch up with who you've become now. And sometimes, and I was talking with someone about this earlier today, has to come from the inside out. Like we have to
agree.
feel like we are still presenting ourselves as we are and how we look and how we dress. And it's the same the way we dress up our offers and our site. It's all got to be very, very congruent. So a question to ask yourself might be, where am I perhaps out of sync with who I'm saying I am and who I'm for and how things look? Yeah.
And I say that, with all of my clients, it's one thing to brand yourself for your client, who you are and what you want to be, but it's really important as women in business to brand yourself that is true to you as well.
Yeah.
I'd hate for me to create something for you that's just so not aligned with who you are, that still, does the job in terms of, but that is something that I think that I do very well, is I get to understand my client and who that person is and try and weave that through their branding. Yeah.
You talked about offers before, and I want to talk about having either too many offers or not enough. And I know you tend to, like me, err on the less is better.
Yes.
But how do you help your clients decide what to cut, what to keep, what to curate, or what to feature, especially somewhere like a website, which can be sometimes too much of a smorgasbord? How do you help them make those decisions?
Yeah. So when someone has too many offers, it's generally because they're saying yes to everything. So they've created service reactively rather than, think about really what you're good at, who you're talking to and what they are wanting. And sometimes if you don't have enough services, sometimes that's because you're underestimating your expertise or you haven't packaged things correctly. So the first thing I do is strip back again to a few things. Who's your ideal client? What's the core transformation that you are providing to them? And what do you actually want to be known for in your business? Because, we are all, for example, I do a lot of work with professional services, and I have about 3 law clients, and they all specialise in different things. They all target different audiences, but they all are known for something in particular. So from there, we generally look at, does the offer attract the right client? Does it support who you are in your positioning? And does it, more importantly, I think, does it energise you? And does it make you feel excited to deliver that service or that product in your business? Because if we're offering something that we go, and I do this sometimes, I'm delivering things and I go, oh God, what am I doing? This is taking so much time or so much energy that you end up resenting delivering that. So I don't know if you've heard this, Susie, but there is a saying about, pruning back the rose bush in order for it to bloom. And I do, and I love that saying, because people, it's quite harsh in the way that you're pruning back a rose bush in order for it to bloom. So I do say to my clients, to strip back anything that is not serving you or that's not energizing you. And then when you mentioned before about your website and, having a mega smorgasbord, but the really simple, I think, if you don't want to do that particular service, then don't showcase it. Your website shouldn't be a menu of every single thing you've ever done. It should be, a curated experience that guides your clients to wherever you want them to go with you.
I want to talk. I love that, because I remember talking to one client and I said, she was a new member to her business, and I said, just send me a list of your products and services. And there were 50 things. I'm like, do you sell all of these? And she said, well, I might sell one, some this on I haven't sold for 2 years. I'm like, get it away from people's eyeballs. It's just too confusing. And one of the things that I prescribe to, and I think you're in alignment, is that you want to have a cohesive product suite, but also that there's a natural pathway where one product offer, service offer, will lead to another. Absolutely. If you were giving someone advice on structuring a product pathway, and I know we've deviated a little bit from design and your core work, but how would you advise someone to think about guiding a client from one offer to the next?
So I love this, because I think when a client enters your world, it should feel like they're coming on a bit of a journey with you. So whether or not that they start with, so for example, in my business, they'll start with either a really low ticket offer, whether that's a downloadable ebook or something, that then leads them to work with me on a logo or brand identity. And then, we tackle the next problem. And it's generally, okay, now I need a website, and we solve that problem. And so it's a journey, and a bit of a transformation that you work on with your clients. So the things that I would say is ask yourself, where does your client start? Once you get to know your ideal client, figure out what are they coming to you to solve and where is that journey starting, and what do they need first, whether or not that's, and sometimes it's not always just a low ticket offer. I mean, there is some type of percentage of, if they've bought from you once, there is a chance that they will buy from you again. So having that low ticket offer is kind of a nice start. But once you've achieved that, and then just work with your clients to work out what's possible next and what can I help them achieve in the next step. Because it's all about trust, really. I mean, a client is not going to work with you unless they trust you. And I think it's, get to know you, like you, and then trust you. So I think once they've potentially been referred to you or have landed on your website, that should give them a really good understanding of, okay, I like this person. They are offering what I need. So now it's time to, get in touch with them. I think that's step one, and then work them through on a bit of a journey.
Yeah, and if we really think about it, even if we have like 10 things in that we sell, there is something that's a natural first step for people. And like you said, it could be a no-cost or low-cost offer, it could be a medium-priced offer, but there's something that will build the most trust, the most value, the most, I want to work deeper with you. So really thinking that through rather than having this smorgasbord. And I want to talk about the specifics of naming and visual design and the role that they play in turning a good product. And I know that if you're listening to the show, you do good work, right? And you work really hard to bring value to your clients. But what is it that can turn a good product into a really strong offer that actually sells just by thinking about, how am I naming this? What are the visuals with this?
And that's, it's hard as women in business. We want to do everything. And I've seen this with some clients as well who have tried to do it themselves and then end up making a big mess. And you just go, oh my goodness, what you're saying is not really aligning with the actual amazing service that you're offering. So, I mean, it's absolutely essential to come up with a great name. And I believe a great name has a key few things, and that is it captures the attention quickly of somebody. And it's generally, a short, succinct word or a phrase that hints at the transformation that you are providing to your clients. And then it just sets the tone and the expectation. So, whether or not, I know it's hard when you are naming a business, because quite often any name that you come up with is sometimes taken, right? And trying to get a domain name and all these things for that are difficult. But when you're naming a product or service, hinting at the transformational benefit is really important, and something that's memorable and easy to say. And then the visuals then back that up. So, I mean, obviously my passion is in branding, and graphic design is what I absolutely love doing. So aligning, the colours, the fonts, how it feels, whether or not it's looking credible and professional, are all the things that will guide your client onto that experience. So, yeah, I think naming and visuals are key, to be honest. You could have an amazing product, but if it looks like poo, then we got issues, right?
We don't want to look like poo. I was in a Facebook group this morning, and this woman has come up with this wonderful idea for a festival that celebrates women. And it's such a great idea, but she'd put together this logo, and I'm going to tag you in that group if you're not already part of it, because I thought we don't want to have this big idea that is so generous and inspired, and then we present it to the world and it's like, that doesn't fit. Which is a little bit like that was. It's like, you have such a good idea, but you want to execute it in a way that honours the brilliance of this idea that has been gifted to you.
Absolutely.
That is this little flame.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard sometimes because, not everybody has the budget to, for design, or to engage an agency but yeah. There are ways. There are ways that you can.
There are ways. There are so many tools now. Yeah. And, there's working with people like you. There's other tools now that have, there are lots of options, lots more than there used to be. So I talked earlier about this idea of innovating, evolving over time as a designer, as a strategist. How do you help women innovate or evolve their products over time while staying consistent with their brand values? Are there any tips there?
Yeah. So I work with so many clients who are at this stage in their business. So generally they've been in business for 5 or 10 years, and it's just time to naturally evolve. But the one thing that I always say is just to have and stay true to your core brand and who you are as a client, and your purpose and your values and your mission. I think they should always stay as they are. And that is really the compass that leads you to, the rebrand itself. So instead of chasing every new trend or idea, I think it's really important to, stick to those core promises, but also being really strategic in terms of the way that you are, where your visuals are taking you. So whether or not that's fresh colours or new patterns or, obviously a new logo and new fonts and all those things to marry in, but still staying true to who you are deep down as a core business. That's what I always generally say to them. Don't go, I can also be a bit of a deer in the headlights when it comes to, changing things up. And I think, no, always refer back to that strategic brand or, your style guide or, all those things that come together. So I think it's important to be really dynamic, but also you just need to ground yourself in who you are and evolve with confidence and not be confusing. Because it can be confusing if you've released something that just looks completely nothing like who you are, right? People will go, what the hell? What's going on there?
Yeah, I get it. I've been there. Now, we mentioned non-designers and other ways to design and, not everyone having a budget, but you also teach, or at least you used to teach non-designers how to create on-brand graphics. Tell us, is that a service you still offer? How does this support small businesses? Tell us more.
So it all started because I, often create logos or brand identities for clients, and they would then go, thank you. I'd provide them all the logos, and then they'd go off and start designing their own graphics, generally in Canva or whatever, which is fine. But, the vision that I had for their brand wasn't always what was executed when they were doing it themselves. So I thought it would be a great idea to at least teach them some fundamentals when it comes to design. In particular, don't use 20 fonts, in a small, all these fundamental things when it comes to design. So what I have done is I've created a course for business owners to DIY their own social media content. So that's available on my website. But as an extension to that, there is a membership. So if you love the course and, you get a lot out of that, then there is an extension that is the membership that is in progress, Susie. It's happening, but it is more of an extension to, all the additional things that you need to develop your branding.
Great. Well, we'll be sure to put links to that in our show notes. I'll let you know where those are later. I want to ask you something about your business. Now, as I mentioned, you're a member of Her Business. You've worked with a number of different programs and clients. We've deemed this year the year of leverage. This question is about you as a business owner. How do you see you leveraging you more this year?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, my course is a way of leveraging. Obviously, there's only so many hours in a day and, I can't be everything to everybody. Producing some more courses and my membership is also a way of leveraging. Some group programs, I have thought about doing some type of, something like that, whether or not it's, talking about branding or educating around branding, but in a group setting. That's my way of leveraging this year. But
I love it.
Yeah.
Great. Keep us posted. Keep us posted. Yeah, staying true to your core, exactly what we've been talking about, but,
Absolutely.
putting some more time back for you by going from one to many. The tagline for this show is Your Business, Your Rules, which I feel is very aligned to the topic for today. I'd love to know what this idea of Your Business, Your Rules means to you, whether it's in how you think about it for your own business or how you might use it with a client. What do you think when you hear that, Your Business, Your Rules?
So I love when I heard that, I'm like, oh my God, your business, your rules should be Graphika's tagline, I swear, because I started my business literally to create my own rules. So I
Right.
started the business 16 and a half years ago. And 16 and a half years ago,
Wow.
working from home or job sharing, like it just wasn't even an option. I remember
No.
working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and that was it. So I created my business. I had my second child and then hated dropping them at daycare. And then that was really
Mm,
just the catalyst to start my own business.
right.
And so I've just created my rules around that. So the staff
So
members that I
good.
bring on, that is my philosophy. I generally hire mums. They
Hmm.
work 9 till
Me too.
3. They work 3 days a week. Like it's all around being, family first is our philosophy as well. So I love the freedom that I have in my business, and it's absolutely my rules, my business, my rules, and I love it.
I love it. And I think each of us has that option. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it. It's like,
No,
who
no,
am I
no. Well,
working
that
this
is
hard
true.
for? But we do
That's
get to
right.
choose every single day. It's like my business, my rules. How do I want to do this? Thank you so much
For
for being my
sure.
guest today. I appreciate you. Is there
Thank you,
anything you'd like to
Suze.
leave us with?
I just thank you for having me. That's the main thing I just wanted to say. Obviously, my passion is branding and design. So if there's anyone out there who wants to learn more or know more, obviously I'm here. I'm in the Her Business Network and have been for many years. But your brand is you and your story, your values, and just showcase that. Showcase that in a way that's who you are and professional and true to you. That's what I'll say.
Thank you. Perfectly said.
Thank you.
Thank you again for
Thank you,
joining
Suze.
me. And in a minute, I will provide some details where you can follow up with Melissa around her programs and the things she has going on at Graphika. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Susie.
A big thanks to Melissa for this conversation. I love the reminder that branding isn't about how we decorate things, it's about the direction that we are representing. It's about you communicating who you are, what you stand for, and why someone should trust you and your business. So if you feel like you've outgrown your current brand, or you've never really taken the time to clarify it, maybe this is your nudge. And rebranding is something that we have done in a big way when we changed our name from Her Business from the Australian Business Women's Network, to Her Business. But it's also something we've done visually, like anytime we've updated our website, and we're in this new evolution again this year, really dialing in what our brand represents. Because when your brand reflects the quality of your work, everything becomes easier. Your marketing, your sales conversations, even your confidence. And in our show notes, I'll include a link to Melissa's website and details so that you can touch base, as well as access to the freebie that she's giving you. So right now I want to do one of my favorite things, and that is give a shout out to one of our listeners. This is a dear, dear member of ours. Her name is Bridget Hallam. She has an incredible business called Throw Your Leg Over, and she helps motorcyclists looking for more adventure to find that adventure all over the world. So she inspires them to dream big, and she helps them through her monthly membership, the guidebooks that she sells, and the tours that she does throughout the European Alps. Now, she recently started her very own podcast for women who want more adventures, and that podcast is called Curves. You'll find it on all the places. So if you are a motorcyclist and you are a woman, you're going to love that show. So Bridget listened to episode 343. It was one of our pop-up Ask Susie episodes, which was about how to turn cold leads into warm leads without feeling salesy. And she said, I just listened to this episode. Gold as always. It helped me fill in a piece of the puzzle in my marketing mountain. Thank you. And thank you for mentioning my review. A perfect surprise. Well, you're getting another mention. So thanks again to Bridget, and I will link to her as well on the show notes page. So if you're interested in that sort of adventure, you can check her out. Now, if you enjoyed this episode and this interview with Melissa and the value that we brought you today, we would love it if you would leave us a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts, or you can send us a direct message on Instagram. You'll find us at @herbusiness. Now, over at herbusiness.com/349, You're going to find a summary of today's episode and links to the resources that we discussed. And if you're new to the show, be sure to subscribe wherever you are listening. Remember, we have a special freebie from Melissa over on that page. And join us in the next episode for more inspiring stories and lessons from successful entrepreneurs and our new series of Ask Susie episodes where I'm answering questions from women just like you who are looking for support in their business. See you back here soon, right here on the Her Business podcast. Bye for now.